Hey everyone, welcome to Stand and Empower, and in today's segment I have my special guest, Carrie Cody. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here.
Yes.
I do appreciate your time.
Of course.
This woman is a girl boss, super busy all the time, and I just have the privilege to have her in today's segment, so thanks again.
Thank you.
Well, tell us a little bit about what you do. What are you passionate about?
Yeah, so I am an engineering manager in our innovation area at a major insurance company. I've actually been there. Next year I'll celebrate my 30th year.
Wow.
So yes, I can't even believe that. Sometimes it seems like a hot minute and sometimes it feels like forever. But my degree was computer science and business administration. I've always been in the technology field, but I've kind of reinvented my career over the course of 30 years, but all within the same company.
Yeah.
So I'm married. I have 2 children. My oldest daughter is 25 in her third year of medical school. And then my youngest daughter just turns 16, which is terrifying. And
the age when they start to drive.
oh my
everything.
goodness. Yes. I can't even believe that's here. And she's a sophomore in high school. But passionate about, like, if I think about professionally what I'm passionate about, and I've had the opportunity to, as a leader for many years, is just helping other people. And I would say this also hinges into my personal life too, but just other people seeing the value in themselves.
Wow.
I think sometimes we don't see our own worth, our own values, our own value, what we bring to the table every single day. And so just helping other people see that, and it just makes better teams.
Yeah.
When I always tell my team that if we had a team of everyone just like me, it would be awful. Like, it would be terrible. So we all bring such unique talents, and just helping other people really see that, because then they do. And we don't always show up every day in our best way, but mostly we do and come together as a team. I think we're meant to be relational and be in community, and we need each other. So I just love doing that. And I love when people can do that for me too.
Yeah, and that's beautiful, because it's something that you don't typically see, at least from something that, from my own observations. You typically are sometimes in a field where there's people who don't want to support you. They just expect you to get the job done, but yet they're not really leading you. So from that leader perspective, I really liked what you said. It's like you're empowering them to work in their strengths. You see the potential even when they can't see it.
And they can't sometimes see it. And sometimes they're just like super surprised by it. But, and then we just realize how much we really need each other, need other perspectives. It's just it's so important.
Yeah.
So, and we spend so much of our life, I do, and my team does, at work. I mean, that's a big part of our day to day. So just kind of rallying around each other and supporting and seeing the values in each other, I think is just kind of critical, and it's really fun to do.
Yeah. Yeah. So with what you're sharing, what is a tip you can give, those in the workforce that are leaders and they struggle with leading a team?
Yeah. I mean, for me, like, so much of it is just so important to recognize it in the moment. Because I think what happens is, I think we all, hear something good or see someone do something good and we're like, oh, that was great, whatever.
Yeah.
And then you get busy and you forget, just the value of recognition. It doesn't have to be recognition in front of people. As a matter of fact, a lot of people don't like the recognition in front of other people, right? But just if in the moment, you could just pull someone aside and, or give them a quick call. I work in mostly a virtual environment, a quick call, quick nudge, like, that was amazing. Like, I'd love to, help you kind of dig into that further, or even sharing back then, even with the team, like, so-and-so, did this is so cool. Like, look at showing them how I learned from it, right? I don't want to project it onto somebody else. Here's how you could learn from it, but here's what I learned from that. Yeah. So I just think sharing kind of the way it impacts me, maybe personally, is helpful too.
That is very powerful. And another thing with some leaders where they make the mistake, or can make the mistake, is where they can have the wrong mentality when it comes to leading, where it can seem like, well, if I tell them if they're doing good, then it's going to go to their heads.
Yes.
Right? And then now they're going to be asking and demanding all these things, right? Or if I, tell them that, it makes me look weak. So there is a lot of that wrong mentality.
Absolutely.
Out there, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, there is. Yeah. I absolutely can see that.
Yeah. So if that is your train of thought, I suggest you take a moment, take a pause, and really look at how you can do this differently, because it is more relational.
It is.
And if you can inspire people, you invest in them, you show you value them. And that's automatically going to give you that return.
Yes, it does. And it's, I do a lot of interviews, and I always, interview software engineer, for example. But at the end of the day, someone could be highly skilled, very intelligent, whatever. But I always say I'm hiring people. Like, I'm hiring a person. And with that comes a lot of things, but a lot of things that we need. I mean, life is hard. And if we could rely on all the pieces and parts, it just, I don't know. That's how I love doing life.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for sharing that. So it's amazing wisdom. Again, 30 years in the business, incredible leader, girl boss.
Some days.
Well, what are some of the challenges that you've had, and how have you overcome them?
So I would, I think maybe a consistent challenge, because I've been 30 years, but always in pretty much the technology field.
Yeah.
And technology evolves so quickly, I'm now more so than ever. So it's just the constant challenge of, in my mind, how do I stay relevant? How do I stay skilled? How can I possibly lead people through something I don't really know? Because, it just is, it's happening so quickly, and that's kind of been the consistent throughout my career. But what I always have to challenge myself is I don't need to know everything, right? I surround myself by people much smarter than me.
Another tip right there. Yes,
which is not hard to do, but just rely on their expertise and stuff, and then just giving myself some grace.
Yeah,
I don't need to know all the things. I want to be constantly curious and learning and evolving myself, but again, give yourself some grace too.
Yeah, absolutely.
In that,
you don't have to know it all.
Don't have to know it all,
and it's okay not to, right?
Trust me, it's okay not to. And just being vulnerable. Yeah. There's a lot to be said for being vulnerable and just saying, I don't know. Like, help me understand, help me, what do I need to know about this? What don't I? Yes. But just that vulnerability with not pretending to know it all.
Yeah. Right. Has there been a pivotal moment in your life, something that's been just life-changing for you?
Yeah, I mean, actually, there's a couple of things. If I can think back on major events or situations that have shaped me into, my evolution of myself and who I am today. But when my oldest daughter was a baby, I went through so it's a compounded life event where my father suddenly passed away. Wow. And I went through a divorce at relatively the same time.
Oh my goodness.
So, in what that, and of course, hindsight is 2020 for sure. Cause, looking back on it, what it just taught me was things I could do. I could do it. Okay. I could do it on my own, right? If I had to.
Yeah.
I learned the power of being independent. I saw that transform through my mom, who had just lost her husband too. In being a single parent of a baby, I just taught, I think, a lot of resilience.
Yeah.
And I think that like changed me from even a career perspective where, I found some strength in that. And I will say all throughout, the events and whatever, prayer has just been a constant for me as well. Yeah. But then if I think another major event that changed me, and there are, looking back, of course, positives, is my youngest daughter in 2017. She was 7, and she was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes.
Wow.
And, that is an awful disease, and what she goes through every day is heartbreaking, and it's sad. And, but she's gained so much strength through that and empowerment. But what it did, how it changed me was, leading at work, I do not work in an emergency room. I'm not saving lives.
Yeah.
So, just kind of keep things tempered at a certain level.
Yeah.
And not being overreactive for things that, you know, in life, there are a lot of things that matter a lot more. And I see it in her every day and what she struggles with. And so that just, it's provided me a mental balance that I needed to, and really constantly assessing what is important.
Wow. So
both of those things I think were, you know, major pivotal moments for me. And again, looking back, you know, we go through things that are very, very hard and are very hard at the time, but you can then see how that changed you and the positive things that you've taken away from that. From every situation, you take, you know, positive, negative, whatever. So, you know, those are the positives that I can say changed me.
Very important.
Personally and professionally.
And you made a choice too, because you could have dwelled on the negatives and be, woe is me.
100%.
And have that mentality and attitude, and then that seeps also into your work life, your family life.
It does. And I mean, there are so many moments you look back on, and you know, I did not show up well, and it was a woe is me. But to consciously continue to turn that around, and then it just becomes more of like, you know, habit, right?
And it takes work.
It takes work. Yeah. It takes work for sure. And oh gosh, knock on everything, it won't be the last pivotal moment, right? So it just, you know, that mental resiliency that, you know, we're just continuing to build, I think has been kind of crazy, but cool.
It is very important. Thank you again for sharing that personal part of your story, your journey.
My journey,
and it is that
and
constant work.
Life's hard.
Yeah.
Life is hard.
Yeah, it is. It's not easy. No one said it's going to be easy,
No.
right? It's how you get through those moments that matters, right?
Absolutely.
Picking yourself up every day, even when you don't feel like it.
Even when you don't, and, you know, think back to like what we talked about earlier with the value, the unique value of every single person on this earth. And we need each other. And all of those moments, I look back and, you know, I needed other people in my support system throughout the years, which is, you know, there's been constants in that and changes in that too.
Yes,
so
absolutely. Yeah. Well, who has been your biggest supporter?
I will say, I think my biggest cheerleaders have been my mom and my husband, for sure. In my family, just in general, my kids, my siblings have just been constant supporters. And I know that because the love is unconditional, right? Yes. So I can be very vulnerable. I can succeed, fail, you know, whatever. And the support and love doesn't waver, and it's not hinging on my success or failure. I do think there is, I kind of call it my board of directors, if you will, and that's changed over time. And I was thinking about this earlier, and I know these people who are my board of directors don't know they're on my board of directors. They don't know they're part of this exclusive group of mine. But there are people that I trust. I value their opinion. Yeah. So as I'm making, you know, decisions or thinking through things or need a rant moment or whatever, they're my own internal board of directors that I will call, grab a coffee with, chat with, and I know that they're going to be honest with me. They'll be mostly delicate, you know. I mean, I want to know the truth and stuff, but there are people I really value their opinion and trust. Yeah. And that's changed over time, and that's okay. And, you know, and it could be a work situation, it could be a personal situation, whatever. But in their friends of mine, their, you know, family, former bosses of mine, who I just really admire and value.
That's good.
And it doesn't mean they're always going to agree with me, but yeah.
But like you mentioned, it's people that are going to be honest with you.
Yeah. Right. And sometimes that can be hard to hear, right?
That part is not easy.
Yeah. I think if I'm looking for direct honesty, I probably would say I'd go to my kids.
Yeah, they have no filters.
They have no problem being honest with me about me.
Yeah. What are some tips that you can give those that are out there either looking to have some sort of like board of directors that way? Yeah. What would you tell them to do? What to look for?
Yeah. I mean, for me, it is, and this can be hard. I think about this when, you know, I want to get feedback from someone on me and things like that. You have to be open to hearing things that you maybe don't want to hear, right? So for me, it's that challenge of my board of directors isn't always the yes people that are always going to agree with me. So much is about character.
Yeah.
Like the moral compass has to be there. Yeah. So much of character is not in what people have said to me over the years, but how they live life out, their actions, not perfection, whatever.
They're fruits.
They're fruits. And, just like being able to lean into that is kind of how I would say I staff my board of directors. So it's like I said, not just about what they say and the yes people, but look at someone, how they live, how they make decisions. In it, we're not perfect. None of us are perfect, right? So, but how do they think through things? Maybe it is kind of a diversity of thought. Maybe they come from a different background. And that doesn't mean that then becomes your answer. Right?
Yeah.
But it's just kind of taking in all these inputs just to, as you think about your career and making decisions about that, or starting a business or whatever, do you just kind of want like varying thoughts and opinions? And then you can kind of internalize that and pray.
Yeah.
Pray.
Absolutely. Yeah. Take it on in prayer.
Take it on in prayer.
That matches also with your own values.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. There's a great book called Prayer Circles by Mark Batterson. And it's just, the notion is just like pray around your circle, whether it's your career, family, pray the bold prayer. Prayers are answered. Might not be how we want and the timing we want, but it's the best time and in the best way.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Skylie just joined us for this bit of the interview. Well, what are some tips you can give to someone who's getting ready for an interview? I know sometimes that can be a little bit nerve-wracking. So what would be some recommendations?
Yeah. The first thing I want to say about that is, if you going into the interview and you're nervous is completely normal. No one likes to be on that side, right? And I always tell people, if someone's going in uber confident, and I actually am worried because most people don't love talking about themselves, right? So I'm not sure that's the person I want. Anyway, there should be a level of nerves, right?
Yeah.
I always try to make people feel very comfortable. This is a conversation. Again, I mentioned earlier, I hire people. So I want it to be conversational. But, I would just think through, your competencies, what you're bringing together, what you're bringing to the table. Some of the situations that you've had that you can lean into to be able to demonstrate certain competencies like leadership, or, if it's technical acumen, whatever those things are. Practice responses in front of a mirror. Right? That just practice. One of my key tips, and one other thing I want to mention too is, prepare an opening and closing. Yeah. So, you want to open and share briefly and concisely how you want them to remember you, right? So what sets you apart, maybe. Yeah. Think about what could set you apart, your unique value, talent, whatever, and your passion for whatever you're interviewing for. Be passionate about it, right? I think my number one tip, as you're thinking about responses to interview questions, a lot of the times they're like, tell me about a time or a situation when or whatever. And they just want to really see your thought process and things like that. But I love to coach people to use the STAR method. So, and think about this as you're preparing for your interview, but acronym. So it's situation, task, action, and result.
Situation,
task, action, result. So a brief lay of the land. What was the situation? The task. What was I tasked with? What was the assignment I was given? What action did I take? And then what was the result? And the result doesn't have to be that everything went well, right? Yeah. I mean, there are a lot. Actually, it's great if the result was it actually didn't go well. Here's what I would have done different. Here's what I learned from that. And that's okay.
Yeah.
But really lean into the STAR method, because that will help keep your responses concise.
Yeah.
And otherwise things can get very wordy and, you lose yourself in that. And then you're, okay, wait, what was the question? And that's okay if you have to ask, some questions can be even multi-part. But so anyway, that's probably my biggest tip for preparing for an interview, to keep yourself concise in your response and really focused on what you want to say, is the STAR method.
Very important. Thank you so much for sharing that. So watch this again, take some notes, very important, so don't forget that. Well, I do have one final question for you. How do you stand and empower?
For me, it's really about helping others see the value in themselves, helping others see the value in each other. It's a beautiful thing if we can show up as our authentic selves.
Yeah.
And feel vulnerable in that, feel supported in that.
Yeah.
We learn so much from each other. We bring such diverse backgrounds and talents and skills and experiences that just can make for such a fantastic team.
Absolutely.
It really can empower you. You can do amazing things.
Yeah.
With that.
Very, very true. Thank you for sharing that. Well, I hope this was helpful for you. Again, go back, watch this again, take some notes. If you have any questions for Carrie, I will include her email in the link. So feel free to reach out to her for any additional questions or insight that she can share with you. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you next time at Stand and Empower.